If you've been creating content with your focus on immediate results, trying to convert with every piece of content, or trying to extract as much as you can from your audience, you're playing the game wrong. Just look at all the biggest personal brands in the space. They don't focus on immediate results and play in years and decades. In this video, I want to flip your perspective on content creation and how to build a personal brand of the future. Understanding the direction that personal brands are going towards so you can stay ahead of the curve before everyone else catches up. This is the question that all future creators are going to be asking themselves. Am I just creating content, or am I building a brand that people will remember? This is the most important shift in your thinking from a creator now and a creator into the future, where they will only be focused on brand. And to show you what I mean, I've been focused on creating a brand and not just creating content in the last few months, and I've already connected with some of the biggest creators in the space, receiving messages like this, wanting to work with me from the very first video, or being completely sold without even jumping on any sort of sales calls, all because I focus on building a one-of-one personal brand that doesn't need a lot of followers to still be successful. You just need to be intentional so that you can break through the noise, instead of just creating content like everyone else tells you to do. I was just focused on building a very specific and clear brand. So today I want to show you how to build your personal brand without having to go viral, relying on outdated tactics like cold outreach. Instead, I'll be going over the 5 building blocks that you'll need to build a cult-like audience and ready buy clients and become a future creator. The truth is, building your personal brand is the greatest asset that you can invest in right now. It's like when people say that you should always invest in yourself, but building a personal brand is exactly like investing in yourself, but on steroids. It's the fact that you're creating a name that holds weight online and offline. It's the foundation that allows you to attract aligned clients without chasing, building deep trust at scale, getting thrown new opportunities, and surrounding yourself with people who genuinely get you. Your personal brand is your reputation paired with the highest leverage tool, which is media, allowing you to scale your ideas infinitely. And the earlier you start, the longer it compounds. And the best part is you don't need millions of followers. Like I mentioned, it's not about just creating content. You need to build a brand which doesn't rely on millions of followers. A brand is built on a message worth sharing, which leads me to my first point, clarity. Let's be honest, most people don't have a content strategy problem. They have a clarity problem. They're seeing what everyone else is posting and just trying to post whatever is relevant in that moment, chasing trends, copying what's popular, and hoping something just works. This is the worst thing that you can do, constantly searching for things outside of yourself and trying to get an audience to build an emotional connection to you. See, the thing is, when your strategy is reactive and when your message is inconsistent, people don't remember you. It's like jumping in a car and just smashing the accelerator, just trying to go somewhere. And I get it. You're seeing everyone else around you driving super fast and you feel like you're getting left behind. Everyone else seems to be speeding down all of these highways, so you just hit record and post things just trying to keep up with everyone else. But if you're posting content without any sort of direction, it's not really a strategy, it's just becoming noise. And the longer that you run without clarity, the more burned out you feel and the more disconnected that you feel from your own brand. So how do we fix a clarity problem? We don't do it by taking physical action. We take a step back and get extremely clear on who you are and your unique perspectives. Getting clear on your own story. What was your upbringing? What skills did you get along the way? The more you understand about your background, your beliefs, and your lived experience, and having the courage and willingness to actually share these ideas, the more unique and magnetic your brand becomes, because no one else experienced life in the exact order that you did. You might have certain experiences that are in common with your audience, which is really good, but being brave enough to share unique point of views so you can actually help your audience see that experience in a different way is what's going to make you stand out. The next thing is dialing in your ICP, your ideal customer profile. You have to know them better than they know themselves. Understand their values, their beliefs, their objections, their deepest dreams, and their silent frustrations. But we as humans are flawed. For whatever reason, we don't see our flaws as easily as someone else does. We get stuck to certain beliefs that we just think is true. But this is your job to understand their beliefs and then also shift that belief to make them realize that what they're thinking is just a belief and it's not necessarily true. If you understand them that clearly, it's going to feel like your content speaks directly to their inner voice. They're going to feel understood and feel like someone's in their corner. And last is to lock in on your mission. Because if you don't understand it, neither will your audience. By you focusing on other people's content and trying to copy what's already working for them is straying you away from your mission. By you being clear and actually communicating your mission to your audience is what's going to keep your audience following, sharing, and then buying from you. Because when your mission is clear, your brand becomes unforgettable, which is why it's going to draw the hard line in the sand for the people that actually want to jump onto the mission with you and the people that don't. don't. For example, my mission is to make creators become future creators. And what I mean by that is for people to actually go into the future, into their minds, and believe something is going to be possible before it even happens. It's for me to create content that shifts people's beliefs, thinking that growing a personal brand and having a successful business is so far away, to taking that future state and putting it right in front of them as if it is possible. Not only doing this through shifting beliefs, but actually using the tools of the future, like AI and automations, and building infrastructure and scale their ideas, which is what every future creator is going to do. I'll be real, it took me a very long time to actually get clear on what I really wanted to do with my personal brand. And I wish I started earlier, but what I do realize that without clarity that I would not be getting the same results that I'm getting so quickly. I would have just been posting content trying to find my way, but it was just going to be noise. I cannot stress that clarity is everything. It's like pressing record on a camera, but the whole time the visuals are blurry. You probably can still post it and you probably will still get views. But because everything is blurry, there's going to be a disconnect from you and your audience. They're not going to feel that connected to you. But once you get clarity and your lens is completely focused, every idea is going to hit a lot harder and every story is going to connect deeper. So remember, you don't need more content, you need more clarity. Number 2 is playing the long game. Shifting from content is meant to sell to content is meant to serve. By playing the short game and feeling like each piece of content is meant to sell comes from a mindset of desperation, feeling forced, transactional, and just lacks depth. This might lead to quick wins short term, but that approach is also going to sacrifice long-term brand equity and trust. Content and building a personal brand is an infinite game. Just like fitness or even development of self. You don't just go to the gym for a couple of months and then you feel good and then you just stop going. It's about how you can do this consistently forever. It's the same with developing yourself. If you want to be more trustworthy with people, it's not about being trustworthy a couple of times and then sometimes you just fall short. It's about how you can do this for the longest time possible. This is the same for building your personal brand. It's about how you can keep creating content consistently for the longest time possible. Because like I mentioned, this is the greatest asset and it is going to be working for you in 3, 5, 10 years from now. And if that's the case, why are you not acting like that? So instead of thinking, how can I get a sale from every piece of content, shifting your focus to how I can become the go-to person in my niche in the next 2 to 3 years. You have to look at content as a nurturing tool and not a sales tool. Yes, it can definitely get you sales, but if you look at it as a sales tool and you have the energy within your content that it's only meant to sell, because it's going to feel like each video wants something from the audience. Instead of using content as the nurturing tool, which compounds every single day. Compounding nurturing your audience, where you dive deeper and you share unique perspectives, personal stories, even case studies, show them that you're the one to help them, and build trust by helping them see the world in a new way with all of those pieces of content. See, the thing is, the goal with your content isn't to manipulate emotions, but to reframe how your audience actually thinks about them. And they're going to feel some level of emotions. It could be frustration, impatience, comparison. They could be comparing themselves with seeing others go viral, but you can reframe that and show them that going viral doesn't mean more income. Sometimes going viral attracts a completely different audience than what you actually want. Being able to reframe and give them new solutions, and being that person that helps them through every emotion as they try to solve their problems, is how they're going to build a long-term trust with you over everyone else that's just trying to sell them. So use your ability to reframe these emotions as your competitive advantage. Number 3, become a category of one. This is by far one of the worst things that you can do, which is just copying all these other successful brands and just mimicking what they do, just copying everyone's content and style. Just by doing that, you're just going to brand yourself as a B-grade version of them. If your content sounds the same, looks the same, and offers the same value as everyone else, you're choosing to position yourself within that group, making you fight harder in a crowded market. That's why this is a positioning problem, not a content problem. If you're building a personal brand and people can't inherently tell you what's actually different about you and your brand, or even worse, they just lump you in a group with other people, they're never going to remember you and they're never going to choose you to work with. So the only way around this is simply to carve out your own lane and not try to fit in with everyone else. You need to be known for something specific and something to actually differentiate you. Think about if we were at a sports stadium and we had 2 teams that were playing and we had countless of hot dog stands. If every hot dog stand was just labeled a hot dog stand, when people go around to get food, they'll just choose from anyone that's convenient. But what if one of the hot dog stands positions themselves by the colors of the stand that actually match the sports team? Just this simple positioning from everyone else that's going to sell hot dogs is going to make the diehard sports fans go to that hot dog stand over everyone else. This is what you need to do with your personal brand. See, this is what most people don't understand. Great brands are built through intentional perception, not accidental content. Everything from your visuals to how you speak, your story, or even your service. They should all reinforce the one idea in your market. If you don't have any symbols that are attached to your name and your brand, you'll stay a commodity just like everyone else. So this is how you build a position. So the first thing is your brand DNA. Who are you really? What really makes you you? If we bring up certain names and personal brands, we understand their values immediately. If people watch your content and they don't understand the values that you hold, then they'll place you in the box with everyone else. So get clear on your values, your worldviews, and share that through your content. Because people that share the same values are going to buy into your energy and your vision. The next thing is you have to own a very specific transformation. If you're just a fitness coach or business mentor, there's literally no reason for anyone to buy from you. You want to build a framework or ideology that show how you help people go from an undesired state to their dream outcome. And you want to stamp it with some sort of name or framework that people can associate with you. Visual and verbal identities, from colors, fonts, visual background, visual design that all should feel like you, and the same with your verbal, how you speak and the phrasing that you use. You want to make sure that the phrasing and the analogies that you use get associated with you when solving that problem. This could be like Luke Belmar, Andrew Tate, where they say break the matrix. By repeating that message and that verbal identity, they're going to associate that message of what it means to break the matrix attached to them. When people continuously see your visual identity and your verbal identity, over time your brand is going to imprint on them. It's all about getting clear on these identities and then repeating it again and again, because repetition builds reputation. If you say 10 things across all your different content because you're just trying to copy what everyone else is talking about, people aren't going to remember anything. But if you say one thing 100 different ways, people will remember the message and always relate it back to you, because brand is built on consistency and not complexity. The more you try to speak on multiple messages and try to talk about all these different things, it's you being consistent on inconsistent messaging, which is why you'll never be branded as a category of one. So get clear on who you are, your specific transformation, your identity, both visual and verbal, and be extremely consistent about the messaging that you put in your content. Number 4 is the what, how, and why framework. I know that we've been told like 100 times that we just need to create more valuable content, but no one actually breaks down what that actually means. When people think about valuable content, they just think about giving information and trying to just solve someone's problem. And most creators do that by telling the what and the how, thinking that's the best way to deliver value. But in the age of AI, information alone is a commodity. We can easily find what and how through ChatGPT. But the content that builds true connection, trust, and brand equity is if you show why. So to dive deeper on the what, how, and why framework. So the what aspect could be, you should be posting every single day consistently. This is the very first step, actually giving some sort of information that they might not have heard before, but by telling them to post consistently might be the answer, but they still need to know how, which is the next level of value. This could be I repurpose all my long form content into short form content so that I can post it out on all these different platforms. You might talk about how you use Notion or ChatGPT or whatever tools that you use to actually achieve this. This is good, it shows skill and it's actually teachable, but the downside is it's also duplicatable. Anyone can copy your how. This is where most people stay stuck. They just share the what and they share the how. But the last layer is sharing the why. What beliefs actually drive this strategy? This is always going to come from a lesson or shift in perspective. It could be I stopped trying to come up with content every single day because it just took too much time. So I had to learn how to develop a system so that I could repurpose my content so it could work for me instead of me creating content every single day and me taking my time and energy out of my day. By you sharing this why, it's actually going to give incentive for them to do the what and the how, because that's actually the thing that you're trying to do with your content. Let's be real, the hardest thing to do is to change someone's mind. So you can tell them the what and the how all day long. But if they don't actually buy into it and they don't actually believe it, they're never going to do it, let alone work with you to actually achieve that goal as well. But by sharing this why, it's actually going to make them rethink their old belief. Like, why am I creating content every single day when, yeah, I should be repurposing it? Oh, like you have a good system that can easily do that? Yeah, I should be using this. Sharing your why is not simply just about efficiency. It's about reinforcing this message until it becomes undeniable. Because if you share your why just once, some people might not fully get it in that moment. But by you sharing it again and again, it's going to reinforce that message that every single time that they deal with that problem, they know that they need to solve it, but they just don't know how. And this is where your why comes into play. You have to find the different angles of why, and then one of them is going to resonate with your audience. And this is going to be the trigger for them to actually take change in their life. And when they shift their why because of you, this is when you build your brand equity. They place you as the authority in their mind. The other angle you could share is by repurposing your content in every single format. It's only being more consistent with your message in every single place. So maybe another angle you could take is repurposing isn't lazy, because when you repurpose your content, it repeats a very specific message. And by repurposing on every single platform, your message is getting repeated again and again, becoming more memorable. Because people aren't going to remember you because you said 100 different things, but people will remember you when you say one thing 100 different times. And number 5, content infrastructure. Everyone talks about consistency and volume, but no one tells you how to systemize it. Most creators just treat content like a one-time task. They just get stuck in the cycle of create, post, and then just repeat. There's no structure, no backend, and no leverage. This is always going to lead to burnout. You need more than just content. You need content systems, one that actually compounds over time and not just drains you. You need to understand the system of your production. Where are you getting these ideas from? Where are you storing these ideas? Because yes, you could get an idea and then create that content, but the original idea is a raw material that you can actually use again and again. So instead of just coming up with one idea and then just posting it out and then forgetting about that idea completely, have all of your ideas actually stored in some sort of database, whether it's Notion, Airtable. If you have a central place where all of your ideas are stored, you have the ability to reuse that idea again and again. From there, the next part of the system is transformation. How do you turn one idea into 10 different formats? Because most people think they need 100 ideas, but you actually only need one idea. You can transform that into 10 different ideas. The key to high volume output is remixing and not reinventing. So use the ideas and actually transform that from a tweet into an Instagram reel into a YouTube video, a YouTube video into an email, all with the same message. Next is using automations. Instead of manually posting and tracking where everything goes, using automations to actually help you post things out, collect the data, and make informed decisions. Because your primary focus should be only focused on the strategy and creativity and let the other systems handle the rest. And last is distribution. You can create the content, but if you're only posting it to one single platform, you're missing out on other audiences just by posting that same piece of content. So actually developing some sort of distribution system to be able to post out for every single platform is just as important as creating. Find your best ideas and distribute them to every single platform. Instead of thinking content as a pump, where every single time you have to store it somewhere and then you have to post it out, think of a flywheel. How do you use one piece of content and use that idea to repurpose for every single platform and be able to get the data from every single platform to make more informed decisions? This is what a content flywheel is. Instead of thinking I'm just going to post more, I want you to think about building an engine that never stops running. That is the power of content infrastructure. It will have the ability to scale your ideas. So these are the 5 building blocks to create your personal brand of the future, and not thinking short term, like just doing it for 1, 2, 3 months and just trying to extract as much as you can from your audience. The truth is, I didn't start creating content to go viral or try and get famous. I started because I saw so many people with a great product or service that actually genuinely helped people, but they just couldn't show up online the right way. And honestly, that was me for a very long time too. No matter what I did, I just couldn't attract the clients that I wanted to work with and who I was aligned with. And I didn't know how, but I knew I wanted to position myself and change how people actually view content and change up the whole personal branding space. And I'm already seeing the ripple effects. Bigger clients, bigger rooms, opportunities that I couldn't have predicted, all from showing up with intention. Being extremely clear that I wanted to build a brand and not just simply create content. And the reason I wanted to share these 5 building blocks with you is because this is what no one is willing to tell you. It only takes one lazy shortcut, one post that's not really aligned with your values, or one thing that you do that's just out of character to completely undo years of trust. Because when you're creating a personal brand, you're not just creating content, you're creating perception, you're creating evidence of who you are, and you're creating your digital legacy. So when someone searches your name 5 years, 10 years from now, what do you really want them to see? Your truth, your work, what you actually stand for a version of yourself that you don't even recognize just because you were too busy trying to just copy everyone else and just create content. That choice is yours. And if you build it the right way, with clarity, conviction, and a system that actually supports your consistency, the brand that you're building today might be the reason that you never have to sell yourself ever again.